Hi, Vicky. Did
How
I
are
pro-
you?
Good. Did I pronounce your name correct?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And I'll try to pronounce yours based on Namrata.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, perfect. How are you doing this afternoon?
Yeah, going good.
Well,
Busy.
I don't know. I don't know where you're at. It might not be afternoon quite yet. So
Yes.
I don't know. Where are you located?
I'm in Salina, Texas.
Okay. All right. Nice. Nice. You guys got hot weather there already?
No, not really. I mean, the days have been sunny, but cold is still there. So it's like a
Okay.
mix of both.
Cold is all around. It's 42 here in Cleveland, so I know it's not that cold there. So,
Yeah. Good enough
all
for
right.
Texans, I would
Yeah,
say.
exactly, exactly. So no matter my process is to have you kind of walk me through your background experiences, and then we'll get into some of the targeted selection questions, and then I'll leave time there at the end for any questions you've got for me. Just a little bit about me. I've been in personal lines HR for more than 9 years. I've been supporting the property group for more than 5. So definitely am familiar with what's kind of going on, the differences between the groups and whatnot. So yeah, so a little bit about me, and then if you can start with talking to me about your background, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So, hi, I'm Namrata Mishra. I'm currently working as a QA test lead for this accident response telematics space. I have been with Progress from last 3 years, technically 1 year for contractor. I joined as a contractor and then got converted to full time. But I have been part of this particular project from last 3 years in this telematics UBI space. As far as for my previous industry experience, I have total 15 years of IT experience where I specialize in team management, people management, quality assurance. I also worked as a program lead for user acceptance testing in my previous industry experience with AT&T, Spectrum Mobile, British Telecom, and Xperia. I also specialize and have a good proficiency in the what we call program management in the quality space. I handle multiple Scrum team in past. Created a retail program QA team from the very start. Successfully completed that project and gained like almost 1.5 millions in the very first year of this program. Like the project got
Mm-hmm.
deployed. And same with the AT&T, I work and handle multiple accessibility program and IT team in terms of the quality space, where I was responsible for creating and establishing QA teams for Scrum, and because we were having this revamping of the complete MyITT website plus the mobile native app users. So I led that effort and it was very successful. Again, as part of accessibility program, which is a great milestone, I would like to mention that we really achieved like 30 to 40% efficiency in production issues to resolve. Like in the very first year we were having very fewer issues in terms of accessibility, so that was a great success.
Okay. Okay. Good. So tell me what interests you in this role in property.
So first of all, I have been looking for some career aspiration in the IT management role. I felt that considering my current role and the leadership role I'm doing with the required skill set, I was quite fit for those roles. So I wanted to give a try, and more or less, I have been a lean advocate and very passionate about creating a culture of trust and having that strategic thinking to work in a fast-paced environment. Great passion for data analysis and having market trends and utilize that kind of research and analysis for driving the IT operations and IT implementation, and make sure that we align our project growth with the company's success and also creating a lot of customer value.
Mhm. Okay.
Because to be very frank, in my current project, data has been very important in any industry. And as a backend
Yeah.
team right now, I'm leading to Scrum team from this backend team perspective, and we on daily basis interact with lot of data for UBI. And based on the production issue analysis, we really work on a lot of market research, the different patterns based on that data analysis, which I'm very passionate about, and that also interests me. So I just thought maybe this role will give me more horizon, and expand my role, where I can provide and contribute my current skill set and the leadership role in that aspect.
Okay. All right, let me dive into some of the target selection. So we'll start for aligning performance for success. Giving others negative feedback can be difficult. Describe how you've handled the situation where you had to deliver negative feedback.
Sure. So in my current project itself, we have been working with multiple Scrum team where every sprint we have new requirement coming, and even from the testing perspective, there is a lot of integration happens, but all the Scrum dev teams work independently. And I have seen there were few dev folks who have been working on this project since day one, but as part of their implementation and requirement understanding, sometimes used to have a lot of gaps, due to which we used to find a lot of defects being slipped into the QA deployment, where like a lot of miss was happening, the implementation was not done corrected, or there was some gap in the good quality of the code, I would say. So considering that, and they used to reach out to multiple folks for even the basic information, which they would have done earlier during the implementation itself, and which not just help them to do the efficient dev testing or unit test coverage, but it can also find out the issue early, what they might be facing during the implementation, like clearing out those requirement gap or kind of design gap. And that was happening a lot for few particular dev people, where I found that it was leading a lot of less confidence when it comes on QA testing. So what I did, I first talked to tech lead, provided my concern in terms of the overall code quality and also how it was impacting our testing efforts and also the testing timeline plan, because if the bugs are coming for the very first day for the basic functionality, it used to create the blocker defect, and then our timelines got also getting impacted. So I provided my concern and also some observation what I have observed about these dev people, and suggested some ideas to our tech lead, and then I also mentioned those kind of concern to our Scrum Master, because Scrum Master is someone who frequently touch base with all the dev on one-to-one meeting, and I provided that information. In parallel, I also talked to that particular dev person and challenge him to how to go through the different direction and to be very proactive rather than waiting for someone to provide that kind of guidance, and find out these issues early on, even if just a matter of communication. So I help him to have a very open communication, transparent communication, so that he doesn't need to have hesitant about asking basic question before the implementation. So I think creating that kind of open environment for discussion and creating that trust really helped that person. And I think while talking to different forums in terms of providing feedback to tech leads, Scrum Master, and also talking to that person, I think it really helped him. Initially, he was hesitant because he was also an SM person. But I think after realizing the points, what I was concerning about, he implemented those direction in his daily work. And I really saw a great confidence and also the improvement in his work for the subsequent sprint. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, so the next one is coaching and developing others. Give me an example of a project, task, or assignment you delegated to someone to help the person develop a specific skill.
Sure, I think I like this question a lot. So as we were having this new project, accident response, where we in the first phase, we were creating this completely new infrastructure using the AWS cloud services. We were also supposed to migrate a lot of existing legacy data for UBI, which currently reside in SQL servers, which we call on-prem legacy systems. So when I was hired to create a new QA Scrum team, there were a lot of QA resources we had internally who were having the good skill set in terms of the UBI domain knowledge and the Postman, other stuff, but they were not really aware of the AWS technology, and AWS technology was one of the primary technology or the kind of testing tools required for this backend validation in terms of the early requirement or whatever the new changes were coming into place. So because that was very essential plan for me so that team can independently do their job and efficiently. So I created a lot of documentation because when I came here, I also had a lot of struggle in terms of the domain knowledge and the required skill set, the different access role for the different systems in order to perform the daily testing. So I created a lot of document in terms of the onboarding, and I provided that documentation information to my team, and not just provided a documentation. I also, in the very first 3 months, I closely worked with them to provide the efficient way of testing, how to look at the different information, how to conclude the different patterns, and making an effective test strategy and also the execution, so that they well understand what is expected from them, how the validation needs to be done, and how they can find early bugs in order to avoid the production issues. So I think working with them closely and giving that kind of knowledge transition for the new technology of AWS, it really helped them. They not just gained that skill set, but they became very confident in their work for doing day-to-day job. And I also saw a lot of operational efficiency in terms of raising bugs in timely manner, getting working with all the different vendors, our internal platform teams or within our backend teams. And we really found a lot of good defects by our QAs based on that training I gave.
Okay.
Sorry, I always use we because my mindset always goes like we are as a team rather than.
I know. I know I've supported the UBI team for a long time. So who do you work with most closely on the product side in the UBI team for the work that you do?
We have Julie Harden.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have enterprise architect Andy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from tech lead perspective, we have Ian Potter.
Okay.
And
okay.
I'm
just curious. Like I said, I've supported the product folks. I'm putting the piece together in my head of like what your role is compared, like how you work together with the business.
Yeah, we had Jim Haas, the overall project sponsor for this, and I think he recently retired.
Yep. He did. He left us and went off to enjoy the rest of his life. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Julie has been great to work with, to be very frank,
yeah,
and she has
she's been a long time. Yep. All right, facilitating change. Describe strategies you've used to facilitate the implementation of a change in your work group. What strategies have worked well and what has not worked well?
Yeah, I like that question. Thank you. So I like to take the not so very recent example, but as part of the phase 2 work which we just did this December 2024. So basically, since we are working in a Scrum, having a smaller sprints for the continuous development work, there was one heavy loaded API we developed which was not used within our backend solution, but it was globally used for multiple vendors flow and also the different cross-functional platform teams. Mainly the main consumer was mobile native app for iOS and Android. And once we have those APIs certified and deployed in production, we found an issue for a very edge scenario, but that particular edge scenario was having like lot of volume, and it was not directly impacted the M&A at that moment because M&A code was not deployed with the latest release. But as part of a Splunk, that was still creating a lot of noise, and we anticipated that if M&A code comes into production, then it may create a lot of repercussions and negative effect. So business wanted to resolve that problem on quickly manner because it was a high priority work. And then since it was impacting a lot of application code, not just one, like it was like 20 plus application code impacted by that API. So it was critical to fix that issue and deploy in production. So it was a heavy lift on the QA side to provide that kind of analysis in terms of the QA environment, whether we were able to reproduce or not. So we were able to reproduce it, but the challenge was like to do the testing, because in order to do that validation, we also had a lot of regression to be done, which was impacting 20 plus solution. And what I did as a lead here is to create a proper trust strategy plan for identifying those priority test cases and how we can utilize the automation effort to avoid that manual heavy load, heavy lifting. So I work with my automation leads to create that plan for identifying test cases. I created the test cases, but I discuss with them like what could be the priority test cases automation can accomplish, and then the remaining part, if something we as a risk-based testing can do low prioritization and medium prioritization. And we also reviewed those kind of plan with our architects, IT architect who was responsible for that new design change. And by doing so, we were able to accomplish almost 7,000 unit tests plus system integration tests, which not just help QAs to avoid a lot of effort, but it also increased the overall operational efficiency for multiple flows in end-to-end scenarios. So basically 7,000 test coverage, including unit test, system integration, that was just covered in fewer hours rather than QA spending multiple hours for like fewer scenarios itself. So it was a great success because we were not just able to meet the critical timelines to deliver that piece of, but we also avoided a lot of other bleeding in the production once M&A could have gone live. Yeah. And for that, our sponsors really appreciated because it was a crucial time. We were also having our ongoing sprint work and other production support work, but it was something we needed to work on priority. So we met the deadline, we delivered the work with the quality, and we avoided that bleeding in production anymore.
All right, inspiring others. Tell me about a time when you inspired a group of people to go beyond the usual performance to deliver exceptional results.
So I like to take the example of our end-to-end coordination. So as part of the phase 2 itself, we were very close to complete our code from all the platform teams, including backend, other platform and vendor teams. And we were getting started for end-to-end. And there was, because we already, as a backend team, we already completed our early integration just to make sure all the new changes are in place and they are working fine. So the majority of the end-to-end testing is being driven by our M&A platform teams because they are the UI consumers and that they are the actual user where we will be supporting these kind of accident response service features. So there was a lot of pushback coming that who should be taking the ownership in terms of driving the end-to-end, the test execution, the test data creation, and providing an end-to-end support. Mainly it was a responsibility from M&A folks, but because we as a backend team were the backbone of this particular project feature, it was always coming on our fall, and our managers were also taking our insight who should be taking it. So basically this was going back and forth, and we also needed to make sure that we start testing on time, raise the right bug in time, and complete the testing so that we do not have much delays in the production launch. So basically I took a step forward. I created a test strategy plan for end-to-end testing, laid out a plan like who will be responsible for certain aspect of validation, who will be contact for the different vendor testing related issue, and how we will be accomplishing with a close coordination and collaboration with vendors, platform teams, and backend team, because we were also having our DC, like the digital communication team involved. So first of all, by laying out that foundation plan really helpful for everyone to understand what each responsibility will be and who will be responsible for what. And the second thing, we kept a open forum on day-to-day basis when the end-to-end started, where I aligned the work in terms of defect management, working with teams closely to respond to their daily basis question, concern, whatever the issue they were facing on, providing the right and timely update for quality testing to our PMs, a sponsor, providing the crisp status update to our business sponsor for the daily progress, and like how the different metrics, how much percentage we have completed. Also providing a transparent communication for the impediments and the open defects, so that sponsors and PMs are aware of the latest progress going on. And having this close coordination and the effort led by me, we were not just able to find almost 100 plus tickets like the bugs, but we were also able to complete the end-to-end timing. And that too, just to highlight here, at that time one of our other QA lead was on leave. He went to India, and other QAs were occupied for some sprint work. So that was the overall effort I started, not just for leading but also contributing for the backend validation testing, and just to make sure that our sprint work is also not hampered because of that. So I think that testing went very smooth. Our customers and business owners were very happy with the progress we made, because we were able to launch our product successfully on the given timelines. So like we were able to roll out this particular project in all the 50 states for auto policy, except California. And within fewer weeks itself, we also were able to roll out that for other channels like agency channel. So in comparison to phase one production deployment, which actually I think lingered for more than 4-5 months, here for the second phase, based on the quality work I led and the effort I led during the end-to-end, we were able to manage to roll out successfully in production for first 2 months itself, including all the channels. So that was a huge milestone, and business owners really appreciated.
All right, so operations decision making. Describe a complex problem you've been asked to solve. What, if any, alternatives would you consider?
So in the recent event, as we know, we are interacting with a lot of teams as part of this cross-functional work. There are a lot of things being changed in multiple projects, which sometimes impact our functionality or our work, which is going in parallel. So this was causing a lot of issues recently, where something other team was doing change for were not communicated to us, and we were not aware until unless someone is finding those issues. And this used to take a lot of effort in terms of investigation and reaching out to multiple folks for finding the ownership. And it was not really impacting our testing work, but it was also impacting a lot of dependency for both Scrum team in our project. So considering few observation here and there, what I realized that there should be a proper release deployment plan, so that we don't overstep to each other work and there are not a lot of code merge issue found, so that it is impacting not just testing but also the dev work for the new requirements. And when I observed this, I brought this attention to my Scrum Masters and PMs, and we further discussed with other PMs of other platform who were having the continuous changes and the development, and having that close conversation and having that open discussion. What we came up with an approach that we will be having a 2-day, like 2 times window in a particular day for QA deployment, and outside that deployment window nobody will be doing deployment, so that way we will be keeping a close coordination and close watch on the daily deployment. And if someone is finding issue, whether it's an automation or manual QA, we will get to know that, okay, because of this new QA deployment, situations are not happening correctly and flows are broken. So we can reach out to required person rather than having anticipation and investing too many efforts for recreating those same scenario, because it takes a lot of effort in terms of QA staging and then execution for critical flows. So in order to avoid those kind of efforts and optimizing our testing and also keeping a close watch on the release management, we come up with that approach. And I think it really helped, because these days any change comes as part of that operational work, whether it's from different team or our team, we notify that. Everybody is aware of that. If something goes south, we bring that attention, and that particular owner team take care and resolve that problem. So basically, what I'm trying to say here, as part of a operational change which was indirectly impacted, I analyzed that impact, estimated that, provided a solution, and made that change effective so that it was helping not just one team but multiple Scrum team for a smooth implementation and testing on daily basis.
All right, creating a culture of trust. Sometimes we need to create trust with those who hold a different point of view from our own. Describe a time when you found yourself in this situation.
So your voice was breaking. Can you repeat that question again?
Sure, no problem. Sometimes we need to create trust with those who hold a different point of view from our own. Describe a time when you found yourself in this situation.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So basically, again, since we are this backend team, there are a lot of changes happens on regular basis, and sometimes with the changing environment and settings are like recently what happened when we deploy this service in production, we were having a lot of production issue, and our SM teams were getting overwhelmed because we as a project SMEs were more aware of the process and information rather than them. So it used to be very tough for them to analyze that issue, taking a lot of time. So what business demanded us that we should we as a SME should be able to support SM teams and to provide that kind of root cause analysis, or helping them to resolve those kind of situation. And it was a kind of peer pressure on our team also, because we already have ongoing work where they have to deliver and implement current work versus they also have to do this additional requirement coming on our team. So what I did, I first understood why the need of this change needed, what kind of different gaps or the support they needed. So based on that understanding, working with our team, we decided an on-call process where I just not provided them to have the technical information in terms of what kind of process being used, where are the different direction to check that data analysis. That really helped them, because even our dev teams are working on this core functionality for this new product, but as part of on-call process, it's a huge information for them to start and to begin with. By creating a proper plan, like the documentation plan for those recurring issues and how to resolve those recurring issues, that was very helpful. And I also had discussed with my Scrum Masters to have an open discussion every day, that if team has any issue, they can provide their queries or concern in a common channel. So we have a production triage team channel where dev team comes, they analyze their remedy incidents or Splunk issues in production on daily basis. They report those issues in channel, and anybody in our team have that kind of information to add on, to add more value for in optimizing their effort, we used to provide. And that documentation also really helped them to begin with, because if that is not given properly, I think they will be feeling like lost. So I think the initial plans really help them to start with, and as they move on this process to learn, I think these days we have been seeing a great confidence in our dev team. They are very proactive. They are very meticulous in their root cause analysis, with having very less supervision from our side. So it was a great success, and as a result, we were able to increase the operational efficiency for SM teams, not just by 20-30%, but we also closed like 100 plus remedy incident plus resolving a lot of Splunk noise by programmatically fixing those issues, and 100 plus remedy tickets, I would say, we close. And nowadays we don't get a lot of remedy incidents for the same kind of common cause. So that really helped, over the period.
All right, creating an inclusive environment. Working with people from diverse cultures or backgrounds can be a challenge. Tell me about a time when you face a challenge adapting to a person from a different culture or background.
Sure. So, in this team, when I started working on this, establishing the new team, there were a lot of people having different kind of technical background and in the business acumen. And sometimes those discussion used to be very technical because we were from the backend team, and lot of design sessions and planning session used to have a lot of technical information going around. And as sometimes the product owner who used to talk about the business requirements, sometimes it was not very clear to team, like because they always think from technical perspective, and business product owners, they think from the business business or client perspective. So sometimes I observe that kind of communication is not very clear in terms of clarifying. So I remember I used to understand that big picture and translate that information in both direction, whether it's coming from product owner to simplify that information, or if it is coming from technical solution, then simplify in terms of what business owners or product owners were expecting. So I think leading by that example consistently, it really helped both parties to understand what kind of question and concern they were asking, and also for IT dev teams to understand better what is coming on their way. So I think that kind of communication, which I still continue within our team. So I think that open and transparent communication, having that culture of trust, and they are always coming with that kind of clarification. So I think overall this was really helping. We were able to achieve few of the critical implementation by clearing these things out early, because I used to include our dev team. So there were a lot of things where we don't really need to involve our dev teams in terms of protecting their work on daily basis to avoid from the external noise. But sometimes it was very important to involve tech leads or also dev leads who is working on a particular item. So by having those kind of close coordination, by not just optimizing the time, but also having different ideas coming on board, so that we can resolve those problems early on or fill those gaps early on. So I felt that having those kind of communication early in the cycle really laid out a good foundation, not just in terms of gaining the business acumen, but also the domain knowledge, which was very, very important and essential to deliver their day-to-day work. Because when it comes on the very granular level details in terms of test data staging or planning the different scenarios, it is very much important that we first need to understand what kind of different scenario customer going through or may go through, and based on that how the test data can be created to do the further validation. So these small details and these kind of small discussion on daily basis, open communication, really help team to gain their confidence.
Okay. All right, and then my last formal question: describe a work situation that included responsibilities you really enjoyed.
So, to be very frank, I worked with a lot of great leaders in my past industry experience, including Progressive. I was lucky enough to get great mentors who not just shaped me, to get that kind of skill set, not just in the technical aspect, but also in the leadership role. So I feel, and that's because I was provided a very open environment, a very fostering environment where I feel inclusive, and I always have my opinion mattered. So I feel like when you are working in a high paced dynamic team, and especially with the multiple people having the different diversified culture, it becomes very important that they feel not just motivated but also feel welcome in terms of sharing their thoughts, their ideas. And I think not just in this company at Progressive, but in my past, I thoroughly enjoyed, because I was always given that kind of freedom and confidence by motivating me and creating that culture of trust for me. So since I learned those things, I always try to apply that in my team with my team members, so that I create an open environment for them to create an inclusive and great culture for trust, so that they are always feel welcomed and open to discuss, not too hesitant, because sometimes people feel like a judgment if they ask for a lot of question back to back. But I always suggest that any question you can come, be open, bring your ideas, bring your thoughts, because it's very important to have that kind of transparent communication and open collaboration, because I think that's where they feel confident and they always feel motivated to do their job effectively and efficiently. Because I got that kind of environment in past, or even sometimes I did not get those kind of favorable situation. I always being very adaptive, quick learner, and always utilize my strategist thinking, like how I can better optimize, not just for my own personal development, but also as a team, for overall success and growth of the people and the project. So I think what I imbibe, I try to share that knowledge with folks, and that I enjoyed a lot. Like apart from a individual contributor, I always think for a bigger picture, not just for a project but for overall company. And I feel like if I can share that with other team members, and if any of them can motivate and accomplish that in their own job, I think I will be successful.
Okay. All right. What did we miss along the way about any examples or experience you want to make sure that I know about, or questions that you have for me?
No, I think I'm good. I just wanted to know, like, if you can give me some idea, like, what will be my career path in this team, and what are the different Scrum team will be like. What is the future for this project, and how the current work has been happening. Like little bit idea about that, because I know it has been long time to visit that particular requirement, but at least the current work, if you can give me some idea about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the hiring manager, Christine is, but I can give you kind of an idea. I mean, with this property group, there's been a couple folks that are in different teams that are all being kind of put together in one team. So hiring this manager to lead the teams to set the strategy for the for the data analysis and reporting for the team, to then kind of drive the agenda. So I think, this person going in this role will kind of be integral in kind of driving that, that decision. So I think it's a little bit of a blank slate for making that determination.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Yeah, I just will put the last word from my side, that I have been very passionate about the data analysis and the kind of leadership I'm doing. So I felt like this role will be a good fit for me to expand my horizon in terms of the leadership role I'm doing, and maybe learning more about the property, because so I look forward for that.
Okay. Well, I know Christine and I are meeting to review the candidates on Monday. So as soon as we review all the candidates, we'll be making determination who's going on the second round, and then we will be in touch. All right.
Sure. Thanks, Terry.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. मेरा तो इंटरव्यू